Hey everyone, this is Giovany, BackYard Flick Reviews. Today I'm reviewing Dunkirk, written and directed by Christopher Nolan. It stars Mark Rylance, Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, and One Direction's Harry Styles. My cousins Bryan and Jacob will be joining me for this review, so here we go. So again, I have my cousins Bryan and Jacob who are joining me today for the review of Dunkirk, which is again written and directed by Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is one of my top favorite directors. I think he's like my number 2. So I had high expectations of the movie. This is the first time he actually makes a war film. He's made the Dark Knight trilogy, he's made Inception, Interstellar, Prestige. So there's some really solid, good films that were written and directed by Christopher Nolan, along with his brother, Jonathan Nolan. So the movie itself is about the event that happened in World War II, pre-American involvement. There's 400,000 British, French, and Belgian men who are stranded on this beach. The German have a hold of the beach, so they're pretty much shooting fish in a barrel. They need to get out of there. Basically, the movie is about how they're trying to escape. They're trying to evacuate the beach, and Christopher Nolan used a lot of musical score to really show the tension of the story, of the scenes that we are seeing. And there's actually not a lot of dialogue.
One of those war movies that you don't see a single tank, except for like the opening scene. There's one tank, but the German forces did not need to use their tanks clustered into the beach where they had enemies in any direction except for going towards the water.
Right.
And they were getting bombed by the Germans. Like I said, shooting fish in a barrel.
So Christopher Nolan, he uses a lot of musical scores, musical tension to portray what's going on with the story. He doesn't use a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot of character development, so you don't get to really learn about the characters of the actual people who are being stranded and are trying to evacuate, which I think is kind of a bit of a weakness for the story format of this movie. So what I did notice about Dunkirk, though, is that usually Christopher Nolan works with his brother as far as the script. So this is just Christopher Nolan, his direction, his writing, his screenplay. And I think it might have something to do with, or at least the fact that the movie is not as strong as I was expecting it to be. It probably has something to do with the fact that there's no Jonathan Nolan in there as far as the story elements go. And there was something missing. So do you think, Bryan, that we needed Jonathan Nolan to be part of that screenplay because it didn't get it to the level, at least from what I think, of what a Christopher Nolan movie normally is?
Yeah, I think it did not meet my expectation of what I want to see in a Christopher Nolan epic war movie. And I guess you pointed out yesterday that Jonathan Nolan wasn't involved. I didn't even think about it or consider it, but every recent good movie, most of his movies, it's co-written with Jonathan, right?
Yeah, it's both of them. They co-write, they write the screenplay.
And he probably would have written some good dialogue or backstory for some of the characters, because that's kind of what he does, brings characters to life. But this was more of a historic, really accurate movie.
Yeah, I can totally tell the difference because, for an example, the Spider-Man movies, the first and second Spider-Man movie, is written by one screenwriter. And then by the third movie, we have Sam Raimi and his brother who decided they want to write the third screenplay. Spider-Man 3 turned out to be, in my opinion, the worst Spider-Man movie. I don't know if it has something to do with the screenplay, because that's the only big change that I've noticed. Or maybe the studio took another direction. I know it's kind of like off topic, but I think when you change writers, even if it's just one little difference, between Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan, and we only get Christopher Nolan, you can tell a difference in style, definitely. So there's something that was missing with Dunkirk. I think it could have used a little bit more dialogue. I don't think Dunkirk was a bad movie, but I just have such high expectations of a Christopher Nolan movie from a director who made movies like The Dark Knight, Inception, Memento. So I was just a little bit disappointed. Jacob, so what do you think about the movie? Did you Did you feel that there was something missing, or was it at your level of expectations? Were you bored? Did you enjoy
I was never
throughout?
bored during that movie. Every scene I was kind of always on edge for what might happen, and like I think people were expecting like an action movie, which I think is more like an impactful movie where it's just trying to tell you a story where something really did happen, and not like some fictional story that someone just made up. It's actually real events, and they went for like impactful moments in the movie. So that's what I just felt with the movie. I really enjoyed watching it in theaters.
Yeah, and the music really worked to make it more impactful because it kind of immerses you into the movie where your heart's racing and the music is keeping up with the scene. It's building up and building up. And
the thing about the music, though, which was really good, it's the musical score is awesome. It's amazing. It's definitely like a character on its own because there's not that much dialogue. There's not that many characters, so there's a lot of musical score. There's a lot of music in Dunkirk. It's loud as hell. The only thing is that sometimes the music is it's going on in the movie. It's all built to be feel like tension, and then it's like tension, and it doesn't. Nothing actually happens. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen, but it just seems like every single note is supposed to like give you some kind of a tension in it, and it's not really there in some parts. Sometimes I thought it was a little distracting sometimes. Sometimes I couldn't even hear the dialogue. Like they're saying something and I'm like, wait, what did he say? Because you still hear the background music, which is really loud, really intense. And there's barely any fucking dialogue in the movie, and then I can't hear some of it.
That's true. I agree with that because maybe he saw some scenes and they sounded good. Like he thought it was pretty clear to hear what the dialogue was, and then Hans Zimmer is just composing his score for the movie based on the scenes, and if he's still building up something and there's just a line of dialogue, that's going to get lost in the song because the score is not going to stop because someone's talking. So maybe that's something they could have worked on better.
Yeah, and what about Tom Hardy? Because
I like them.
Christopher Nolan lately seems to want to have Tom Hardy under a mask.
I don't blame him.
so,
Under a mask, yeah.
Yeah, so we have Tom Hardy playing Bane, and he's wearing a mask like anywhere like the whole time. And in this movie, in Dunkirk, he's wearing a mask. There's like one shot that he's not, like towards the end or something. But I just think it was kind of funny that he's just always wearing the mask.
And it was kind of the same shape as the Bane.
Yeah,
mask,
so it's just like see a little bit of like his eyes.
And he's talking like him too, because he's talking to an old like microphone. He's like, it's like talking like that, but with a British accent. So it's Bane with a British accent, but yeah, it was pretty cool. He's probably my favorite part of the movie, the RAF dogfighting scenes.
Yeah, so there was some parts in the movie that kind of confused me a bit, which took me a while to figure out. That it's actually 3 different timelines.
Yeah.
So it's like air and then
sea
and then land. Yeah. So it's a completely different timeline. So it's like we'll see one shot. It's like daytime, and then we'll go back to land or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like nighttime, daytime or nighttime or whatever. So it's in the same I guess chronological order as far as what we see, but it's actually a different timeline. It's a different
I was not
day.
expecting that either.
So I thought that was like, what's going on here? The acting is really good. Christopher Nolan always knows how to direct his actors. We got Heath Ledger's, the Joker. We've got Christian Bale. We've got just a bunch of actors who do good portrayals under Christopher Nolan's direction. So that's always good. So there's no problem with the acting in Dunkirk. It was just kind of like the story. I think it needed more character development. We needed to learn more about the characters. I know some people were complaining about it not being R-rated, and I don't think that's really a problem. I guess people were expecting it to be like Hacksaw Ridge or Saving Private Ryan. It's not that kind of movie. So Christopher Nolan did take it a different route. So I did like that he took it a different direction and didn't make a typical war movie. It just needed some more stuff in it.
This movie could probably be shown in class, like for a history class. It's really accurate and
yeah. And here in the U.S., I mean, we don't.
Really well done.
I don't remember ever hearing a American history or anything about Dunkirk.
No, yeah.
So that's pretty much had to look it up when I thought, oh, Christopher Nolan's making Dunkirk. I'm like, well, it's set in World War II, but I'm like, I thought I knew a lot about the World War II.
I think that's why he did that movie, though. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's a
I mean-
really important story.
I mean, I think he has dual citizenship, so he's American and he's English. So it's like, what's a movie that hasn't been made, but people are also familiar with the era, or with the situation with World War II, that was based on true events, and it's during World War II, 1940. You know, America's not even involved in there at all yet. It still has like a year and a half before Pearl Harbor even happens. So I mean, overall, you know, Dunkirk's a good, solid movie. Is there anything else you want to add, Brian or Jacob?
Just go ahead. Anything?
I think like the lack of dialogue could be kind of excused because like they're like constantly like on the watch for like airplane attacks or like attacks from anywhere else. So I don't think they'd be like taking much time to talk about their backstory when they're
Shell shock too.
shell shock. Yeah. So I don't think they'd be like they're not having enough time to talk about their backstory
Yeah, that's a good
or
point.
develop anything. They're just like they're just trying to survive and trying to get out of there. So I think that's why like that's where there's like a lack of dialogue in the movie.
Most of the dialogue came from the B story or the British citizens being asked to help with their fishing boats or their ferry boats to.
Which they show that.
Yeah, and I really like that part of what actually happened in the history of World War II with the British and that story element that was actually real life. That wasn't something that was fabricated by Hollywood. It was something that actually happened. So, I mean, I really enjoyed that element.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he should have added just a bunch of bullshit, just to, you know, make it a more engaging story.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
not what
the love
happened.
story in that movie.
Yeah, it's
That's
good.
what
Love
happened.
story and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did feel that there was something missing. Like I said, I don't think it was a bad movie. I just I was expecting a little more.
Definitely not the Christopher Nolan you will expect to see. That it's not the Christopher Nolan movie you will expect to see, but that doesn't mean it wasn't bad. I actually think it was really good. If you look at it, if you take the preconceptions you have of what you're gonna see going to a Christopher Nolan movie, if you get rid of those thoughts and just go and see it, and I think it was really good. We saw it in IMAX 70mm with the big speakers, so it was definitely thrilling.
Yeah. And I mean, just the opening shot
Yeah.
of Dunkirk, that's fucking Christopher Nolan right there.
I know.
Like that itself, that could be a fucking poster right there. Just like the opening shot.
It's like 6 guys.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch
There's
of
nobody.
paper flying.
It was propaganda. It was
Right.
Nazi propaganda telling the soldiers, you know, you're surrounded, nowhere to go. Surrender. You know, 400,000 men. They're getting taken out by bombs from the air. You know, these planes have these. It's like a horn on the plane, so when it went into dive, it would make that sound you hear from planes, like you know, like the horn coming in. It's terrifying. It's psychological, and that's why they used it.
Yeah.
And also for the planes that the British RAF were flying, they had like a Rolls-Royce engine, so that has a different sound to it. It's more like thunderous and like low rumbling, like you know, which is completely different than the German ones. And so when you're watching the movie and you hear that, that's a sign of help coming. Basically, you know, you're in the water, you're getting bombed. There's oil everywhere you can light up, and then you see the RAF pilot coming.
Yeah, it's definitely like very realistic.
Definitely.
For sure, and that's usually what Christopher Nolan is known for. Even within the Batman Dark Knight trilogy, even in a comic book character movie, he makes it to be realistic. What if Batman really did exist?
Yeah.
And that's
That was
what he-
believable, and the Joker too.
The Joker as well, schizophrenic, you know,
Yeah.
crazy. So in the rating scale of Dunkirk, you know, there's see it, skip it, stream it. You know, stream it being the middle ground. What do you guys think about? What would you?
See it.
So it's see it for you.
See it.
Jacob?
See it, but probably for some people only. Like, I don't think everyone's gonna like this movie, or I don't think everyone's gonna enjoy watching it.
I
in theaters.
agree with that too. If you just see it, you know, and you don't know what it's about, or you don't know what Christopher Nolan is, or what kind of movie it's gonna be, you think it's gonna be like an epic war movie, and you don't appreciate good story and all that, then you probably won't like it. But I would recommend it to people I know that like movies. So if you're into story, if you're into drama, if you're into history, action too. Yeah, it's definitely its fair share of action. I'd say go see it.
So with me, it's still going to be a see it. I mean, like I said, I didn't say that it was a bad movie. So it's still a see it. But don't expect, Saving Private Ryan. Don't expect Hacksaw Ridge. Don't expect any other war movie that you've seen.
Any other war movie, yeah.
Because it's not like that at all. So it's still a see it. And as far as letter grade, I'm going to give it a B-, and it's going to be a 3 out of 5 stars. And you guys?
I give it a B+. 4. Is that 4?
4 out of 5?
Yeah, 4 out of 5.
So B+, 4 out of 5?
I give it a B. Yeah, just a B and 3.5.
All right, so it's 3 out of 5 stars for me, 4 out of 5 stars for Brian.
But that could change because I'm still digesting it, like I said, and
You need to see it again?
I still have to see it again, yeah. So that could always change.
Ultimately, Dunkirk is a good, solid film. I do recommend you guys see it in theaters. It's an experience. If you could see it in IMAX, it'll definitely enhance your movie-going experience. So with that being said, that concludes the review. My cousin Bryan and Jacob joined me today. And thank you guys for watching. Click the button to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.